Zabe, we're getting ready to talk to the former head coach here in D.C., Jay Gruden.
Yeah, before we do, though, quick over-under on P. Rivers tonight against that Niner D. Over-under yards.
156.
Over-under completion percentage.
54.5.
More touchdowns than picks?
No.
Okay.
I think this is going to be ugly. My favorite bet of the week was the Niners to cover 5.5. I think the clock's about to strike midnight on the Cinderella story.
Yeah. On air and on the road, Jay Gruden is brought to you by the Ted Britt Automotive Group. Ted Britt, Ford and Chantilly and Fairfax, your F-150 headquarters. Ted Britt, Lincoln and Chantilly. And Ted Britt, Chevy and Sterling, all home to Ted Britt for life. Lifetime vehicle coverage. See and shop them all at tedbritt.com.
Jay Gruden is on the Rude Guest Hotline. Jay, good to talk to you again. Zabe's in for Danny. What's up, buddy?
Good to see you guys. Good to hear from you. And take the over in Phillip Rivers' completion percentage because he throws a lot of short passes, my friends. Take the over.
That is a good point, actually.
But not on the yards?
Not necessarily on the yards, no.
Got it. Just
he's not pushing it downfield.
For 23 for 142 yards. I could see it.
I can feel that. I want to start, actually, something that came up on the show earlier, and we said, let's put a pin in this and ask Jay about this. Is there an actual card,
laminated card
for when to go for two, when not to, or when to go on fourth down and when not to, that somebody has on them during a game?
Not on fourth down when I was coaching. We definitely had a go for two chart for sure. That was always available for.
Where was the chart kept?
It was kept in the press box by one of our assistants.
So he would just, it would be score and time of game?
Mainly it was score, how many points you're behind, should you go for two or not.
Got it.
I kind of had a pretty good feel on that, going for two and when not. I never went for two when we were down by 14, 15 to 14 to 13. I always try to keep it within two scores. I never tried to get that extra point like a lot of teams are doing now. You're down by 8, kick the extra point, you're down 7. A lot of teams are going for 2 to go down by 6. This makes no sense to me, but other than that, they're pretty easy to do.
Did your staff make that chart, or did you download it from the internet?
That was a chart that's been around the NFL for many years, even when I was with my brother in 2002 when I first got in the league.
Okay.
So we had that same chart, yeah.
I think the chart's changing, though, because that whole down 15 late or down 14 late.
The new one is 14. 15's always kind of been the thing.
No, right. But down 14 late, the new thinking is go for two right away. And I understand the pseudo logic of it. I don't know if it really works.
Yeah, to explain it to listeners really quick, the idea is, so you're down 14, you score. Now you're down 8, and the idea is you eventually could kick 2 extra points and tie, but if you have 2 chances, if you have a chance essentially to win by getting a 2-point conversion, you do it now so that you know whether or not you're going to need to go for 2 later. Right. The sooner the better.
Correct. Yes. The other one I do not agree with is if you're down 9, a lot of teams want to go for 2 to go down by 7. I would kick the extra point and go down by 8 because you're still only 1 possession away. If you don't get it, you're down 2 possessions. The game's down or over. That's the other time. That's the other one teams are doing nowadays that I never did.
So would you get on the Motorola? Who had the card? Who would you be talking to?
I never had to really use the card, and unless it was like a 24-point game or something like that. Then it really doesn't matter. You're getting your ass whooped. So I never really.
But I guess what I'm saying, Jay, is in a world where you wanted input, just to know what does the card say, would you get on your headset and say let's say the guy's name was Tim. Hey, Tim, what's the card say? And then you would just go with your gut anyway, or how would that have even worked? What are the machinations?
We always had the card available. I never used it.
Yeah. Huh. I mean,
yes.
you guys, data-wise, did you have an analytics department at that point? It was.
Not really. No, we had. I was never really big into the analytic part of it. I'm more of a people person, and how the game is going through my gut. I never believed an analytical little nerd up there telling me I should go for it on 4th and 2 at the 40-yard line when my 2 offensive guards are hurt, my center's hurt, and I'm going against Vita Vea or Goalie Nada. You know what I mean? It's not an easy down. Everybody thinks, hey, it's 2 yards. You can get it. Well, you got to have the right play with the right personnel, and sometimes punting, backing the team up if your defense is playing good is good too. So there's a lot of situations that there's no analytical person who can tell you what's right or wrong, in my opinion. I mean, you just got to have a gut feeling.
I think the league
and
is
momentum's key as well. I mean, if you want to seize the momentum, if guys are playing kind of lulling, game's kind of like feels like going, hey, go for it on 4th and 5 to create a spark, some juice. Maybe wake your defense up if you don't get it. Get your ass out there, get a stop.
Yeah,
so I think part of that as well.
I think the league's gotten too aggressive. I think the pendulum swung too far.
Yeah, I think you're right, especially these teams that aren't taking field goals early in games. I think getting 3 points on your initial drive is key. I think Detroit went down there and tried to go for it on 4th and 3 instead of kicking a field goal. When these games are going to be tight at the end, hell, I mean, 3 points is still pretty good. Now the issue, though, is this stupid kick return rule, or we're like, well, we can back them up, instead of kicking off and letting them have the ball to 40. Yeah. So that's another issue that comes into play now that I never had to worry about. Because usually when you kicked off, worst-case scenario is at the 20-yard line. You bang out of the end zone, they're going to get the ball to 20. They got a long field. Now they get the ball 40.
Former Redskins head coach Jay Gruden on Grant and Danny here on The Fan every Monday at 5 p.m. The Bears and Packers both had a go-for situation in the red zone to start that game on Saturday night in the red area, failed rather than kicking field goals. Although I got to say, I hated Dan Quinn going for the kicking a field goal on 4th and goal from the 2 to open the Washington game where they got that field goal. Your season's lost anyway. What are we doing here? Trotting out a 19-yard field goal? Let's go for 2 there.
Yeah, that's different. If you're not in the playoff hunt, you might as well go for it. What the hell you got to lose?
Speaking of which, 2-point conversion in this game. So this was a major point of consternation. The Eagles are up 17, 3-possession game, 4 minutes left. They go for 2. Dan Quinn took great issue with it. So did his players. There was a brawl that ensued. Did you have a problem with that?
No, not really. Why? They thought they were rubbing it in?
Yeah, I kind of running up the score is probably the wrong phrase because there's only 1 extra point. But the idea was they broke an unwritten rule of just kind of, coach to coach, what the hell? You're making us look bad.
Yeah, I didn't really even think about that. And there was still, was there 2 minutes left to go in the game? Yeah, they probably should have just kicked it. Yeah, I can see how people get their feathers ruffled or whatever you want to say, but I don't think it's 1 point is that big of a deal. It's not like they, trotted out Saquon Barkley up by 25 points, at the 1-yard line and let them get a touchdown to go up by 40. It was still a 12-point game or whatever it was, right? 17-point game.
Yeah. So Coach,
why would you get your ruffles feathered over at 1 point?
Yeah. So they're not going to do it, but is the argument to play Jaden Daniels now stronger or weaker than it was 2 weeks ago?
Definitely weaker. I don't think there's any reason now to play them. They're playing the Cowboys, which is a meaningless game, and now the Eagles, really, which is a meaningless game because the Eagles have clinched the division. So both these games really don't matter. I think if the Cowboys were battling for a playoff spot and the Eagles were battling for a playoff spot, to play spoiler and try to get a win against one of those 2 teams, I think would be different. But right now, if nothing on the line and some of the injuries that the Washington has acquired with, the tight end being hurt and obviously the left tackle, I don't know if he's going to play or not. Definitely, I think it's weaker. Don't play him now.
Interesting. So you base it on whether the opponent is playing for something, almost like a respect for the game. We don't want to just lay down and give another team an easy win.
Yeah, for sure. Can you imagine if we're vying for a playoff spot and we're playing the Cowboys who are out of it and they say, hey, we're not going to play Dak, we'd be happy as hell, but
yeah,
the rest of the league wouldn't be happy,
Yes.
You look around the league and you see Joe Burrow battling his ass off and all these other guys that are starting quarterbacks on teams with Dak Prescott's going to be playing. They're not resting. So, I don't really know what the difference is other than Jaden's had a couple more injuries. Joe Burrow's had 4 or 5 injuries. He's the franchise. They can't do anything without him. So, that's the other argument. Say, why is Joe Burrow and Dak Prescott playing when it doesn't mean anything? So, but in fairness to Jaden, he has had, 3 or 4 different injuries this year, and it probably would be better.
Jay Gruden on Grant and Danny here on The Fan. Stick with quarterback for a second. So they've got Sam Hartman in the building as their developmental guy on the practice squad, their 4th quarterback who's become their 3rd. And now if Mariota's out, he would be their 2nd in theory to Josh Johnson. They've decided to go sign Jeff Driscoll, who's on the 53 and is going to back up Johnson if Mariota can't go. Why not give Hartman a look? What was explained to me is, well, he hasn't practiced all year, so you're kind of throwing him to the wolves. Jeff Driscoll just got here 6 minutes ago. You're not doing the same damn thing to him? I mean, how much has Josh Johnson practiced?
They're going to be wolves eating whatever quarterback plays. So why not play the guy that's been in the building, at least been in the quarterback meetings all year long? I mean, not taking reps at practice with the first team is one thing. At least he's been on the practice field, been in a meeting room, listening to the terminology, knows the no-huddle words, all that stuff, the snap, count, the cadence, the audibles. He should know all those. So, yeah, I agree with you 100%. I would play Hartman before I'd go to Driscoll, although Driscoll can run a little bit better. Maybe they want to do some zone reads or something like that and get him crushed too. So, I don't know. I would go with Hartman. He's been there. He's kind of, he's earned his way. I mean, why have him on the roster as a practice squad guy if when the time comes you don't use him? Might as well get rid of him.
So just to be clear, would you play him over Josh Johnson because he's younger and has some future, or are you saying you would just have him back up Johnson and not involve Driscoll?
Worst case, I'd have him back him up. I would try to get him ready because this is another opportunity to see a guy play. He's obviously got some talent. He went to Notre Dame, had a pretty good career. He's been on your roster for some time on the practice squad. He played in the preseason, did some decent things. He struggled a little bit, but I mean, hell, why is he there?
That's a great question.
He's developing for these moments. If your quarterbacks go down, he has to be ready. So let's see if he can be that guy next year or the year after. And if he fails miserably, then hell, let's go keep Driscoll in for next year as a practice squad guy or backup. So, yeah, I would definitely look at Sam Hartman if he's been there.
If I ran the league, Jay, I'd mandate every team carry 4 quarterbacks all year long. So at least number 3 and 4 are in the meetings, like you said, that know the calls and whatnot. They're not going to get any reps per se, but at least they're in your building. You're not calling them off the couch. Would that make any difference whatsoever? I've had football people say to me, it doesn't matter, that those guys are not NFL quarterbacks anyway.
Yes, I can see why they're saying that, but it would help a lot as far as the process of calling plays and getting your game plan together instead of teaching a brand new guy like when we had Mark Sanchez.
Yeah, that's what I figure. It's a lot less
we brought
legwork.
Mark Sanchez in. He was only here for 5 days. He had to play against Philadelphia when Colt McCoy broke his leg. And then we went to Josh Johnson off the street. He only had like a week of preparation before he started against the Giants or came in against the Giants. So, yeah, that would have been a lot better if we had 4 quarterbacks. But, back then they didn't have the roster spots. You had to either take out a DB, take out a receiver, take out a lineman, whatever it might be. So I was like, hell, I'd rather have guys practicing at those key positions during practice, at receiver, scout team, DB, whatever it might be, than have a 4th quarterback standing there playing catch. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We needed those bodies to practice. We didn't have enough bodies to practice without them.
Can you explain the Josh Johnson phenomenon, though? 39 years old, 14 teams. He comes in on short notice, and he's not awful. He's not great, but he's not awful.
I've had him 3 times. My brother drafted him in Tampa when I was there, and then I brought him to Cincinnati when we had a couple injuries, and then I brought him to Washington, obviously. He's a very bright man. He's a great person, a great backup, very positive, and he can run. He is a very elusive player. So, if you're not going to be able to drop back, a true drop back quarterback is not going to know protection, just get his head beat in. You got to have somebody that can run and make some plays with his legs. That's why he's so valuable. And he was with Baltimore sometime. He's been everywhere. I can't name all the teams he's been with, but he's just a great guy and a great backup. He knows his role, and when he's asked to play, he can make some things happen because he's so athletic.
I wonder if he could name all the teams he's been on. That would be a hell of a challenge. It'd be like asking, who was it, Cromartie, all his kids' names or whatever on Hard Knocks.
Well, that includes some teams in the AFL. Is the AFL or what
UFL.
was the
UFL? In the United Football League.
Yeah, Sacramento Mountain Lions is one of them that he was on. The Los Angeles Wildcats is another one.
That might be arena.
The San Diego Fleet he was on, and 14 NFL teams.
Yeah. Jay, how did you decide the white flag punt situations? So I ask this because Quinn twice in this game punted in situations I just didn't understand. So that 4th and 4 from the plus 40 with 9 to go down 11. It's an 11-point game. You're at the plus 40. It's 4th and 4.
That's a terrible
And
punt.
They punted. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah,
and then they had another one like 3 minutes later, 4th and 6 from the plus 44 with 6 minutes to go. You're across midfield, still down 11. And they punted. Like, what the hell are we doing here?
Yeah, I had no idea what he was doing there either. I have to question coaches' decisions very often, but those two were very odd to me, especially the first one. There's 9 minutes to go. It's 4th and 4, and it's going to be hard to get the ball in that position again. It's hard enough to get stops with a defense the way they're playing, and definitely was a head scratcher for me. I can't explain that one, and that was way too early for. If you're down 25 with 9 minutes to go, then yeah, punt it. But
Like
I guess.
11? I mean, it's a touchdown, two-point conversion field goal.
Yeah, you're still in the game. Yeah,
and
they
you're definitely
they were
getting
competing.
two possessions still in 11 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, you still have the weapons out there with Terry and Debo and those guys. Somebody could get open, I would think. So yeah, that was odd. I can't understand that one.
All right, let's bounce around the league here before we let you go, Jay. Couple to hit on. Ravens, Patriots last night. Baltimore led by 11 with 9 to play. Drake May, dime of a 37-yard touchdown pass to get New England back in it. Then they go on an 89-yard drive to win it as well. He throws for 380. Would have been 400 because he had that pass interference call that was a drop down the field that didn't get called. But what did you think of his performance in New England winning in Baltimore?
I think it's big time. I think this kid's just really done a hell of a job this year as far as his growth. He struggled a little bit last year, but his confidence level is big time right now, and they have a good running game. McDaniel does a good job of calling plays for him, keeping teams off balance, and Drake is performing at a high level. And he can run with the football. He makes good, sound decisions. He doesn't put his team in harm's way, and their defense is playing good enough. So, yeah, they're playing great. I've been impressed with the New England Patriots. I think Vrabel right now should be Coach of the Year, at least one of the top 2 or 3 guys, him or Liam Cohen or somebody.
Speaking of the sophomore quarterback class, Caleb Williams, how about the throw he made in overtime to beat the Packers?
Yeah, it was only 30-mile-an-hour wind. That was a hell of a game, really crazy game. I stayed up to watch that one. That was awesome, and he's coming a long way too. And I think Ben Johnson's done an incredible job with him and not making Caleb do too much. But when Caleb has been asked, he's answered the bell with big-time throws. He's not turning the ball over like people thought he might. He's not taking a lot of sacks like people thought he might. He's doing a great job, and the Bears are right there with a lot of the best teams in the NFL.
A guy that you've always had a hard time evaluating, you've told me, is Trevor Lawrence. 1 month ago, I finally got off of the table that I've been standing on defending Lawrence forever, and I said, all right, I'm out. I'm
you
done.
laid down your sword.
Yeah, I did. I sold right before my house became worth $1 billion. He's on his best heater of his career now. He looks like the guy we thought he could be.
He is, and that's the whole thing about him. He's been up and down his whole career. When his ups are really high and his downs are really low. But right now he's maintaining the upward trend, which is critical for this football team. They play very good defense. They stop the run, and Liam Combs doing a good job of getting different people the ball. Backs out of the backfield. ETM's doing a great job out of the backfield as a pass catcher. They had a couple good ads during the season. So yeah, they're pretty good. They have a big deep ball threat, Brian Thomas Jr., and they are doing a great job. I mean, they have really, really impressed me the last 3 or 4 weeks.
Did you ever get mad enough at the end of a game you would want to fight the other coach if you had the chance?
Yes, I've had many about those opportunities.
Many of those.
Yeah.
What's the most mad you can remember being at another coach?
Every time I lost, I wanted to kill the other guy. I just didn't like to lose. I just hated losing. I just hated it. I hate them celebrating over there on the other sideline and doing dances and all this bullshit. Yeah.
Would you have been selective about who you fought? Because I imagine that.
For sure.
Yeah, you want to pick on a guy like Mike McDaniel. A little small guy.
He'd be the first guy.
The easiest guy right there. He's Glass Joe when it comes to other coaches fighting.
Pull down your pants. Nobody wants to see your socks. Yeah.
Capri pants.
But there's nothing that comes to mind like the Nick Sirianni thing where a dude went for 2 and you're like, what the heck's the matter with you? Like that kind of thing?
No, nobody really ran it up on us that I can recall. No, I know me and Harbaugh got into a preseason game one time. I want to kill him. But
John? Or
which one?
The Baltimore Ravens.
Okay, John, yeah.
What happened in that?
Johnny Boy. We had a fight on our sideline, and the referees was right on our sideline. I'm like 2 yards on the field, and the referee's yelling at me, "Hey, get back on your sideline!" And Harbaugh's over there in the mix of it, yelling at us.
I remember
I go,
that. He was out in the middle of the field. That's right.
And I'm like, "What about that SOB?" He started coming after me because I yelled at him. So, yeah, we almost got into it there.
I forgot about that.
I think he would have taken me though. He's a little bigger. I don't know. It would have been a good fight. I would have put up a good fight though.
If the money was the same, would you take the Michigan job or the Jets job?
Oh my God.
Same money, but you got to deal with the NIL, Jay, in college.
Yeah, I'd take the Jets. Because you kind of can identify what you need. You got to get a quarterback. It's easier said than done, but
right. At least there's some structure to it. College is the Wild West right now. Very slimy.
For sure.
Yeah.
I don't even know where to begin in college.
Yeah, no kidding. It's bad right now. All right, we appreciate you. Thank you.
All right, thank you guys.
Good catching up as always. There's Jay Gruden.
You know where you start in college? You find a guy with $20 million, just like Dillingham did this weekend.
He's
One of
trying
the more
to.
outrageously brazen sound bites of, man, we just need a guy with $20 million to stroke a check. I'll make him those famous guy. We're in Phoenix, Arizona. I'm like, where's the art of the sell in this exactly?
Well,
I don't understand this.
For people who missed it, they're asking him. They go, so what do you have to do to consistently be in the playoffs? How do you get to the
and
top?
He said, get
And
a guy to stroke a
literally
check
said,
for $20 million.
We got to find someone who will cut us that check. And then he starts just looking into the camera, one shot.
Yeah,
You're out there.
Yeah.
I know you are.
Hey, come on.
This is Scottsdale, Arizona. Surely someone out there. We can't find one billionaire who's got $20 million he wants to give to the program.